What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys had a good evening and ready to go for the market today. We got you guys piling on into the room. Good morning, Jay. We got Chris McCoy in the house. Yo, Varus is here. We got Greg Hill rocking the team with us. We got Brian. Good morning. We got Thomas in YouTube land. We got Kyle. We got Foz. Did I say that right? Foz? I don't know if I would say it right or wrong. I kind of want to add like an extra I somewhere, but I think it's just Fayez. Is that better? Fayez? We got Albert. Good morning, Albert. So KK in the house. All right. Fayez. All right. Okay. I'm going to get it. I'll get it. All right. I'm also going to forget probably 1,000 times. Because even in my own name, I probably end up butchering. So, not personal, not personal. All right, let's see. Let me get my trading view going. Fayez. All right, that's my mission, just to get that. That's it. If I could do that correctly all day today. I don't know why. All right, let me do a new screen share. We got Patrick in the house. We got Matt R in the house. I have to get a trading nickname one of these days. Yeah, I don't know. Johnny's the one. Johnny's just the king of nicknames. So he just renames people. I'm like, all right. But yeah, so it's gotta be a Johnny nickname, I think. He's got some people, they got symbols in their name, like Prince now. It's just like, all right, okay. All right, so let me flip this over to an hourly chart. We'll probably take off some of those previous lines, but we'll start with the SPY. Let me just move this up to my other screen. Fayez, you got the closing challenge yesterday? Did he win that one? According to Brian, I don't know. Did he win a $200,000 account? Oh, it was last week? Awesome, man. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how there's a $400, $500, $700 stock and people guessing to the penny to what this thing could close at. I think it's a talent in itself. That's crazy. All right, so let's take a look. Let's flip right to the daily first. For the SPY, gapping down. We probably about an hour ago, we had a little bit of hope left. Now this is not looking good. Not looking good. The one good thing, not for us as day traders, but in general to kind of hold us up, what I would expect. So this is obviously a big sell-off after a major gap. I do expect more bearishness in the market. Obviously, we're just well under that 10 EMA on a daily chart. We are below yesterday's VPOC. We're not at the lows. We not yet. I mean, give it time. 26 more minutes is a long time. But I think what happens is we end up pushing right back into this 413.25. Maybe we get a little bit higher just as some kind of little bit of a retest. And then we probably look to fade that. So as day traders or for the markets, for any bull case, in this area, we're going to have a decent amount of support. So there's going to be some levels. It's going to be probably a little bit more trickier than yesterday in the market. And this is for the overall market. Obviously, each stock could work independently, but this is a relatively heavily traded volume area. So we have a little bit of a pivot here, some inside candles. If we go back, we have another pivot over here. I don't know how much this thing's going to run. I do think the sentiment should still be bearish. I'd still be looking to go short rather than long, but I think it's going to cause a little bit more of a chop in the market. Yeah, Matt, I think choppy is the word I would use. So I think we get a little bit of that chop. What I'd be looking for though, if we could get some kind of a bullish push to 413.35 or 30, somewhere in that zone, that would be a spot to look for some kind of shorts. We have a lot of room. We have a lot of untested spots to the downside. Again, this is really our first gap and go. I think Jeremy in the afternoon room yesterday, he was pointing out that there is pretty much an island reversal pattern, which is a very, very bearish signal. And the one thing that he pointed out as well is the last time it happened, right? So we had the last time you had the island reversal, which is over here, right? So gap up, gap down. You saw what happens after, right? And to his point, this move, because it's a lot, it moved already into this island reversal a lot more, a lot stronger. So that would probably cause this to be a lot stronger of a move down as well. So again, I'm going to stick to my bearish thesis today. But I think we could see a little bit of a chop. I think it might be a little bit more difficult than potentially yesterday, which was just take anything bearish and win money. Except DraftKings. Matt, you got the just FYI, you got the chat on host and panelists. Just FYI. Yeah, DraftKings, don't worry about that one. Matt says newbie mistake. Oh no. Let's see. Qs. I would say Qs are definitely a little bit weaker. We're not quite as congested. If we were down in the maybe 308, 309, 307 zone, we would have a very similar feel. So the Qs actually do have a little bit more room to run. That puts us the next stop in pre-market. We're at 313.67. The next stop is 312.48. We have one VPOC here. We got another 2 levels here. So some area to kind of protect. Otherwise, if that starts to break, we start getting under 310 again. That takes us to about 309.23. That zone is a zone that I'd be looking for some kind of consolidation because there's a lot more in that previous little pivot. And if we start to break that, we'd be looking at 302 and then back to 294, and then Rome is burning again, right? So we'll see. But we do have a little bit more freedom to free fall on the Qs than we do the SPY. So I think tech could be a little bit on the weaker side today, more so over the SPY. But we'll see again when the market actually opens. Those are some lines from yesterday. We'll take these off the chart. I'm still standing. All right, we got Tesla. So Tesla's actually gapping up a little bit into a previous resistance. Let me flip this one to an hourly. So at least Tesla today looks a little bit on the stronger side, if anything. On the hourly chart, we're still below the 10 EMA. For our own 10 EMA purpose, it's not going to qualify out of the gate. It does not appear that way, at least, as we are just having an inside day. Toward the end of the day, well, this would be interesting. Let's do this. I actually don't even know where to start that one. I don't know, I guess we'll do like a little mini fib. Let's get a mini fib on this one. This would be where's pre-markets? If we're starting it from this pivot yesterday, or from, I guess, Friday, that would take us into 875.74 is about a 50% retrace. That would take us into that 10 EMA. It would actually break out of that 10 EMA a little bit. I don't know. Again, I think sentiment overall is just weak. I don't know if Tesla could run up higher, but we do now have a little bit of VPOC moving bullish. We kind of saw that over here a little bit too. So big red candle. This might be a very similar pattern to what we did on Friday. Let me just draw out real quick 2 more lines, just so somewhere there's the 50. And then we have somewhere here is the 618. So could we get a little bit higher, close that gap today? Maybe. I think it's weaker. It's just got a little bit of support. So I don't know if I want to go bullish or bearish on this thing. And right now, for 10 EMA purpose, it is just kind of inside day from yesterday. So nothing too crazy as far as momentum wise goes. And again, I think downside for everything, but that would make sense. SPY's shopping pretty much around a little bit. Anyone else see that massive dive on the Qs and some tech stocks at 8 a.m.? Let me see something real quick. 8 a.m. It looks like we started to reverse. I don't know about. I thought maybe you're talking about like news candle, something like that. Specifically, a big wick. No, I don't have that on. At least on my on TradingView, I don't have extended hours, which I could just switch over. But I just looked on Thinkorswim. I don't see it on Thinkorswim either. Yeah, I have the 5 minute on the SPY. Nothing there. Let me check the cues real quick, just to be sure. Sometimes you get those weird prints too, depending. The that's 2 in the morning. Yeah, 8 o'clock on the cues. I see that little bit of a wick, 3 minute, and then probably if we switch over to SPY, 3 minute. But I mean, that's probably a fat fingerprint at 8 a.m. Yep, on the cues. Yeah, it doesn't look newsworthy or anything like that. It looks kind of just like a random print. I probably actually wouldn't put too much weight into that one. I've seen worse. I've seen worse. All right. Yeah, a lot of times pre-market, especially around like when markets are opening and stuff like that, you do get some weird prints, mainly because of a lot of times volume and people moving some orders around, market makers, things like that. So for that particular one, I don't really see too much, and we did break down from it as well. So if that's the case, we would be more bearish. Amazon still looks bearish. So we did short Amazon yesterday. We have a ton of room. We are sitting in that gap fill zone. Where do we fill that gap today? That would be quite the trade. We have a little bit of hope probably coming in to save us, maybe around this 132-38 zone. Anything past that, not looking too pretty for Amazon. Unless you're short, then it looks beautiful. So we did see Tesla that was gapping pretty much up from VPOC. Amazon still a little bit on the weaker side, still working its way down past that previous VPOC. So we're gonna have that as resistance. By the way, I don't know if you guys heard me talk about sentiment of large drops or large candles or anything like that before, but even if this thing starts to get bullish momentum, which maybe somehow it does, right? And because we got not quite tweezers, but we got wick. We got some kind of bullish interest at least. But anybody in these candles, anybody in these big drops, their sentiment is not how much money can I make now on this trade, as opposed to when they got in, when that was their probably only thought. But now it's how much little or how much less could I lose on this trade? And even if we get some kind of buying on Amazon, it's going to be very difficult. And you see that a lot with a lot of these hourly candles. Tesla had one. Probably the next 6 stocks we check, they'll all have one. There's going to be people trying to get out. There's a little bit more fear in the market. So these type of gaps they're not going to be easy to start to close, right? But again, we are below that VPOC, so I'd be looking more short than long. We have probably about $1 to the downside before we start running into some kind of oh shoot, I'm a bull and I really need to save this thing and we need to bring this thing higher. So not really the strongest volume at that level, but still an area that I would see as some kind of hope that works out zone for sure. Hey, Stephen King in the house. Yep, no worries, Stephen. We got AMD. So AMD looks a little bit like Amazon, where actually AMD today looks weak. Dude, we're not going to qualify. Dang it. We need this thing to drop a little bit. Yeah, this one, as of right now, does look a little bit on the extra weak side. That could take us. Targets on AMD could be $90.61. We might have a little stop at 91.25 first. What is this magnet thing? Just get out of here. But we're right now below that VPOC. We're starting to move up a little bit, but where we were about 10 seconds ago, we had maybe bulls coming in or shorts covering, most likely probably shorts covering on this one, but we were actually gapping below that candle, which would have taken that thing to a whole new weakness level, trapping maybe anybody that said, okay, this thing's too low, I'm buying. But we'll have to see where this thing actually opens. Again, for 10 EMA so far, nothing is really qualifying yet. Not yet. Keep waiting. This one looks weak on Apple with potential room to the downside. Apple actually might qualify. We'll have to see where this one opens, but it looks like we put in a last hope of a wick, probably bouncing off of where we had some developing VPOC, relatively decent area. Right now we're still sitting on it, but the fact that we're below that wick is not a great sign for Apple. Next immediate target, if this thing does push down, 166.01. Otherwise, maybe we get to about 165 today for Apple. So Apple actually is decent. So let me put Apple at the top of the list. I'm going to follow that by AMD today. Amazon, Tesla. Let's take a look at Delta. Delta looks a little bit more like, I mean, nobody's ever put those two in the same sentence, Delta and Tesla, but it does look a little bit more like Tesla. So we have that 10 EMA coming down. We're not breaching that at all. We're still inside day, but on this one, we are at least as of now gapping above the VPOC from yesterday. On a bullish note, first stop on this one, it's going to be a very small one, probably 32.34, the next spot, which will be a little bit more resistance somewhere in this 32.64 zone. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know how this one's going to play out, bullish, bearish. This might fall into the SPY chop zone. So not overly excited to play that one either direction at this point. I don't know if I'd go, I don't think I'm going to go bullish on it. I just can't go bearish yet. So we did check AMD, it was a little bit to the weaker side. And let's look at NVIDIA. See if this one's on life support. Mike is in the house. What's up, Mike? NVIDIA does look all sorts of weak. I'm just worried about targets on this one. Targets, we might have to 168.45. This is an untested VPOC back here. So this would be my target. Obviously, it's just anybody looking at just the pivots. They're looking at 167.55. So we might have a natural little bit of inkling to save it there. Again, also in this cluster of volume, the heaviest areas, we're still above that. So we still are going to have a little bit of support, probably 168.59. I don't know if we have that momentum yet. I don't know how. I don't know how we're going to do, but we are gapping, at least as of now, very similar to Apple, below that wick. And again, depends on where this thing opens, if it's going to qualify out of the gate, but it will probably qualify relatively quickly as long as we just don't open and tear up higher. But sell, 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 little rest, sell, sell, sell. And any of that bullish potential buying at the end of the day didn't really work out for them, and we are below a VPOC from over here. So yeah, I would say next target probably gets us to about 168.39. It's not going to give me a great trade. If we could design a trade the correct way on this one and have our stops relatively tight, but also in a safe spot, and that might have to be 171.36 as a stop. That would give me about $2 risk. It would give me just under $2 risk. And then even for an R, I'm going to need about $2 risk from here. For 1 R, that takes me to 167.53. I'd have to breach this area with that type of move. So we'll give it some time. Risk to reward, I don't know how great that is going to be today, but it is actually a decent gap. I'm going to put it I'll put it as number 2, but I think it's tied with AMD for for number 2 spot. I believe Matt said Google. What I've also found, and I think we had a relatively good day yesterday. I don't know why this works out or why it doesn't, but typically when you have a really good day, the next day is always like a poop day. I don't know why. Google actually looks a little bit more impressive. So yeah, we're in that high volume area. Could be a little choppy here. We've already broken down this high level, which is 113.79 on Google. That's going to take us to about 113. So again, not a huge spot. I would be looking for a little bit more continuation, maybe down to 112. Get into these VPOCs right here. Obviously, we have one right prior to it, but that is a nice gap. Again, it is a retest gap, so I wouldn't jump in bearish right out of the gate. I would wait for a little bit of a retest, maybe around that 114.24. In worst case scenario, you get a little bit better risk reward. Just put a stop at like 115.17. So see if we get a little bit of buying on this one. Just, I mean, big gap down, sell, short, another gap down. Maybe people start taking profits, getting into a little bit of a higher volume zone. Thoughts on ZM? And then Steven wants to look at Twitter. ZM. This might be too large of a gap. But probably not even. No. Just volume wise, I do expect probably a little. I mean, we were selling into this gap. This is a big gap. This is on earnings. So it looks like they beat on earnings per share. On revenue is where they got killed. They put the word surprise, like a little surprise party. Surprise, you guys lost $16 million. I could see a little bit of buying. What I would be looking for is somewhere in the range of 87.10 to 88.45. Somewhere in that range is the spot I would be looking for some kind of a short. So see if you get a little bit of buying. But the fact that we cleared this entire thing, that's trapping just enormous amount of people. Usually on these gaps, I would, number one, I'm like, be very careful because obviously anything can happen. But with that amount of potential resistance, I could see this thing getting bought up at the open, and then probably into that, I would get as close to 88.27 as possible, and maybe even have a stop somewhere in like the 92.71 zone, somewhere like that, give it some room. But I think this is a area that should now be a very, very big support for this thing, or resistance, I should say. Let's take a look at Twitter on Stephen King, TWTR. Twitter. I love when I pull up the screen, the pre-market doesn't even show up. Okay, this one it did. I was zoomed out enough, I guess. ZM, I had to scroll almost to a monthly setting. Twitter, nice gap on Twitter. What I would be concerned about is we're starting to get back into this little bit of a volume area, which should hold it as support. So this one is almost a little bit different than the ZM, where ZM is gapping past all the support. This one's gapping into a lot of that volume. This one does have a little bit more room to head down, probably into, if we're to short this thing, 41.08 would be a zone I'd start to get a little concerned with. Rick says, what indicator is the blue? The blue is, all it really is VPOC, but it's through Lux Algo. I believe, I don't know if it's this week or next week. It might be this week. We just check the calendar, but there's a full class I'm going to actually go through on Lux Algo with some of, they have a whole bunch of different tools. It's a, you have to pay for their tools and stuff, but they do have some cool stuff. But this is, so if you type into, if you type into TradingView, go to indicators, type Lux Algo, you'll see them. I don't know if you could get it right through TradingView. You might have to go to Lux Algo website first. But like I said, I'll review all of their tools, or not all of them, they have a lot, but I'll sometime this week, there'll be an hour and a half where I do run through that. Is that today? Stephen King. Am I running through this today? I forget. It was either maybe Friday. I think it's on Friday. Which I'll record too, and we'll get that sent out as well. But yeah, the only thing with Twitter for me, it is a beautifully bearish gap. It's into a little bit of support, so I would be concerned a little bit with that for now. There's a time, I think it's this week, where I'm discussing the Lux Algo indicators. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it's on Friday. I don't think it's today. Yeah, if you could check that for me real quick. We'll review some stuff. Nice gap on Pan W, says Patrick, PANW. Palo Alto. Yep, volume profile for Lux. All right. Let's see. This is one where I can't even find that pre-market line. What do we got? 3 more minutes left. This is a beautiful gap. Let me actually go out to a larger time frame because we're clearing all of that. This one looks good. Again, pretty massive gap. I would assume we get some profit taking. I don't know if that leads us to 548.39 or a much better price to attempt would be probably somewhere in this. I mean, I would love to get it at 544.80. I don't know if it reaches that. But any of these pullbacks, this looks like a decent one to probably buy up, at least my initial thoughts, and then we'll kind of see what happens. But don't buy the breakout right at open, I don't think. However, all the volume came in there. We are breaking that considerably. This might be one. If you don't day trade it today, keep on the list because all of this now should act as some type of support. Luis says, DJ, thoughts on CVX gapping up? CVX. We got what, 2 minutes? Beautiful. So much time. We got Chevron. Chevron. So this one, decent little gap up. Let me flip this back to the hourly. We have a little bit of resistance coming in, 162.28. Let me see if we get a smaller time frame resistance. Yeah, no, this gap looks good. If we could get, I don't even know how much of a pullback we get, but maybe we get a pullback into like 158.98. Otherwise, there's not a lot. You're gonna have little stops, maybe 161.58. I think that's what we said before. Otherwise, the next true target would be about 162.26. Probably where we start hitting some resistance. And honestly, even that, we have the ability to break through. Again, I don't know today or not, but realistically, at least on an hourly chart, which is a slightly longer time frame, not a lot of interest from institutions, and we have good support where we're at now. So yeah, Chevron looks long. Let me just check XOM real quick. See if we get some sympathy play. Do I have time? 41 seconds. I got some time. This one's another one gapping up. Yeah, out of the two, Chevron definitely looks a little bit better. So I don't know if I would play the sympathy play today. I would be looking more for Chevron over ExxonMobil. The daily is at 159.73. CVX. Daily 100 is at 159.73. Well, yeah, so I mean, again, we're going to have a little bit of resistance coming in here, but that is fairly nice. All of this should act as some type of resistance. So now it's just about timing, but yeah, I would be looking more bullish than bearish. That is the bell. Oh my goodness. All right, YouTube. Unfortunately, it's that time. We got to disconnect, but keep in mind, you guys can trade with us all day, every day, as long as the market's open, because I'm off on Saturday, Sundays. But any other time, you guys are more than welcome to join in, ask questions, review some charts with us. We are live streaming every single day from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern. All you got to do is go to reallifetrading.com. Make sure you also hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the